North Dakota State Pro Day. Today, all eyes on quarterback prospect Trey Lance.
With the 2-day negotiating period of free agency set to begin in 3 days, the Jets' evaluations of the top quarterback prospects are rolling on. College pro days are in full swing, and today, all eyes are on North Dakota State quarterback Trey Lance.
Matt, the quarterbacks are a big focal point in the conversations around this year's draft.
In past years, we would have the combine, we would have private workouts. This year we didn't have that, but we were able to have the pro day, so we had to make the most with our opportunities there.
Starting with the fall, there were less games, which is less opportunities to be able to get out and see those guys perform. That continues on. If they're an underclassman, they weren't available for the All-Star games or for the Senior Bowl, and then having no combine and only one pro day, essentially one pro day for some guys to be able to go. You got a 2-hour opportunity to see them throw and be able to interact with them.
How do you judge overall pro readiness? Because with Trey Lance, he's only got 17 games experience at the FCS level. How do you judge overall pro readiness? How do you weight the experience versus the operation that the quarterback has in game?
I believe anytime you're evaluating a quarterback, you have to see him throw live.
As the Jets prepare to add significant pieces to the roster, there are plenty of fresh faces already in Florham Park.
Yeah, hold on, that's good. Perfect.
I love the staff that we've been able to put together. Obviously, our coordinators get a lot of the publicity with Albert coordinating the defense, LaFleur coordinating the offense, and Bryant coming back with special teams. But on offense, having a guy like John Benton and the experience that he brings, along with Greg Knapp and the experience he brings, and Ron Middleton, I can go through all of them. Just a tremendous mixture of guys on the offensive side of the ball, and on defense to have guys who have been a part of our system, Mike Rutenberg and Tony Oden and Marquand Manuel, and then adding new pieces to that, and having our front and our coach, just the defensive staff in general, just a good group of men. It's a fantastic staff, and not to mention all the support staff around with Jackie and Steve Skarneckius. So it's a really good group of people, and we're excited to be a part of it.
And are we flexing or not?
You can do what you like.
No.
We're only going to use them when you're not flexing.
While the new coaching staff is getting used to the new digs, their focus is on finding the right players to fit in the locker room and the new scheme.
Coach Saleh and his staff did an outstanding job when they first got here in terms of meeting with us, with the personnel staff, and kind of going over the specific, characteristics that they want in players. And our scouting staff, our college scouts, did a great job of adjusting, finding the guys that fit those characteristics.
For the most part, in the fall, we were scouting for a different coaching staff than the one now led by Coach Robert Saleh and new coordinators. So the premise of size, speed, toughness, intelligence, that really covers both schemes, both coaching staffs. Now we had to go back really in January, February, March, and April and figure out, okay, are there players that need to be adjusted because they fit this particular scheme better than the previous coaching staff? And I think that's been probably the biggest challenge this spring, is just trying to adjust and adapt and figure out which players may fit our scheme a little better now than maybe they did back in September and October.
With the transformation of the Jets coaching staff complete,
Love you guys.
the transformation of the roster is about to begin. The countdown to free agency is on, and for Greg Nejma and the pro scouting department, the anticipation level is high.
This is kind of like our Super Bowl in the pro scouting department. We've worked so long, for so many months, and really almost a full year, countless meetings and discussions about players and research and background, and this is kind of the day where it all kind of comes together, hopefully. I started as a training camp intern back in 2009, and then I was hired full-time after the lockout in 2011, and since that point, I've been in various roles in the pro department, from pro scouting assistant to pro scout, coordinator pro scouting, and then most recently director of pro scouting. You want to get off to a good start, but you don't want to be impulsive about it just because we're allowed to now talk to these guys. We still need to be methodical. We still need to be organized and disciplined in everything that we're doing. So even when we are agreeing to terms with guys, we're doing so as part of our plan. And at this point, we're all anxious to kind of get rolling because we really feel like we're as prepared as could be, and we really want to start to reshape this roster because we want to win as bad as anyone. I know everyone gets excited with free agency and it beginning, and we're just the same. Even though we're in the middle of it, we're the same. We can't wait to hopefully add some of these guys later on today or over the next couple days.
It is free agency time. There's going to be some wild moves over the next few days in the offseason.
Which teams do you think are going to be aggressive in free agency?
Well, the Jets have a ton of money, second most cap space in the entire league right now, where everyone else is cutting players.
You want to make this a destination for free agents. And it's not enough to have salary cap space. It's not enough to have the second overall pick in the draft. They got to try to change the culture and win.
Think about culture. I think that matters most with the Jets right now.
They've got about $73 million in cap space. They've got a new head coach in Robert Saleh.
From Joe Douglas to Saleh to the owner, they want players who love football and want to be New York Jets.
From a pro scouting standpoint, it's really a year-round process to evaluate these players, their development, and we watch every player that played in the league each year, so we're able to track their development from year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4 to when they become a free agent.
Yeah, we're usually looking a year in advance for those guys who you project moving into the market the next year.
We really approach each offseason in terms of how crucial it is the same each year. Our work and our preparation doesn't change just based on the opportunity that we have in terms of cap space or draft picks. I think with Joe, that's always going to be the goal going forward is to try to be flexible and have options and never feel like we're kind of boxed into a corner.
Our football admin team, those guys do an unbelievable job, really doing a comprehensive market analysis just to really set the table on what we feel each player's market's going to be.
Free agency, it's a little different than the draft in that the market and who's available is kind of dictated to you to an extent. So you have to be able to be prepared, but also be flexible when things don't go your way. You have to be able to remain poised and pivot to what your next best option is.
We come up with several plans and contingency plans, but I think the good thing about Joe D is he never panics in any situation. He kind of lets free agency and the board, fall where it's going to fall. We don't panic and make frivolous decisions in free agency.
Once that legal tampering period hits, you're prepared. You really have a number in mind, and you can go out and have open and honest conversations with these agents.
I think this is going to ring true on both sides of the ball. I don't want to speak for Robert, but when we get into that 59 level, because it seems like a lot of the questions last week, the profile tapes were geared towards, okay, these are the top tier guys, but these are the traits that we're looking for. So like, if we focus on what's the one trait that you can hang your hat on with this person, and then combine it with intelligence and toughness, that's the key. Do they have that trait that you can hang your hat on, whether it's speed, whether it's get off, whether it's ball skills? What's that trait that they're going to come in and hit the grass and be like, wow, okay, that guy has that.
To piggyback on what Joe just hit, he just hit it, and Mike was hitting it too. You get, we all have these traits, but you start talking about the later round guys. Is there a trait that's elite? And Joe just hit it. Does he love ball to where he's a willing participant in contact and getting better and finding a way to improve himself?
Well, the Jets made some headlines yesterday. Day one, big contracts.
Here comes pressure off the edge. Taken down. Getting in there, Carl Lawson.
Carl Lawson makes the jump from Cincinnati to New York.
I really appreciate the organization for having me, and let's build a winning culture.
But remember, out of college, Corey Davis was a top 5 pick.
Man, I'm gonna give them everything I got. They believe in me. It's a blessing, like I said, to be here and give them everything I got.
Clean pocket.
Fires over the middle. Caught by Davis.
Good players, system fit, smart buying.
These are guys who love the game.
Very team-oriented guy, a leader, and a dog.
Justin Hardy's a guy that is an all-pro caliber special teamer, and he's an all-pro caliber person. He's going to bring leadership, he's going to bring energy and juice to the special teams units. He's a guy who earned his way into this league, and I think he's a great example for a lot of young, undrafted players.
Dog, we're going to go out there and give everything every single Sunday.
A guy like Jared Davis, who has all the tools and skill sets that we look for out of a linebacker. Sheldon Rankins as a man is one of the greatest human beings that you could possibly get to know. As a player, the man is dominant. You know, Vinny's been in the league a while. He's had a tremendous amount of production and respect. He's had a great career in the locker room. His leadership skills are unbelievable. The men who have been brought in from free agency are men who absolutely love football. They love being part of the organization. They love being around their teammates. They just love everything about football.
Jets, Jets. That's all I gotta say about that. I'm excited, man, for real. Like, I can't.
When Joe was in Philly, when Rex was in Indy, when Coach Saleh was with the Niners, and myself with the Ravens, I mean, these are guys that were high prospects on our board, and you know, they're good football players, but they also really love football, and they're good people.
Jets Nation is Carl Lawson. Let's take flight. Oh, I messed up, huh? All right. I didn't even put the video on, so that's perfect. Jets Nation, I'm here. Jets Nation is Carl Lawson.
As they work together to find the right mix of players to create a winning equation, the Jets coaching staff has a chemistry that formed long before they arrived to One Jets Drive.
Just having history with Coach Saleh, there was a level of trust that we have with each other that I think was probably the most intriguing part of it. The other part was I think we have a very aligned vision of where we want this defense to go and what we want it to look like, and one that's based upon, you know, fundamentals and technique and effort and toughness and essence of ball type stuff. And it's not like that everywhere, you know. So for me to get an opportunity to help him create his vision here, it's very exciting.
Well, I mean, I think that's where it first started, was with Coach Saleh. Obviously, I got a history dating back with him. I believe in him. More importantly, I see the players believe in him, you know, working with him for the last 4 years. He went through that job circuit interview deal back in January, and there was one job in specific that he was so fired up about when he would call me after him, and it was this one. So seeing him so fired up about this job obviously made me fired up, because I wanted to go work for someone that I trusted and knew. And then, you know, just hearing about the organization, it was, you know, for me, I got pretty fired up. There's so many different systems, and everyone's got their beliefs. I think, you know, the cool part about this system is we obviously have our beliefs too, and it starts with the run game. If you can't run the ball, you know, consistently, it's going to be hard to win consistently. So we're just going to talk about running the ball and how we come off the ball and attack, whether it be the receivers, the line, tight ends, whoever it might be, our quarterbacks keeping out our fakes. The cool part about it is the big pass plays come after the run game, and that's where I think the guys end up getting really fired up, and they see the explosives that come with it.
When we went out into free agency, we weren't looking for the guys necessarily with the obvious stats, you know, meaning it wasn't necessarily just sacks that we were looking for. We were looking for guys that really consistently won the one-on-one and affected quarterbacks. Carl Lawson was exactly that. So as we see him right here, number 58, right here, just went in with like his arsenal of pass rush moves, just one of them. And he's a guy that does like a 6-month study on himself, and all of a sudden he changes his stance by 2.5 inches. He does like, he goes to another place as far as trying to find the inches within his game. I think within this system, he's gonna be able to be a little bit more aggressive and jump out of shoes a little bit more than he has in the past, along with the interior guys that we have. Those guys will feed each other. You know, the times where they might have had an out in the past on him and they'd be able to step up into a pocket. With the type of interior rushers that we have, there will be no pocket to step up into. So I think the general public's going to find out who he is now, because I think the stat numbers will go where they belong, as far as they'll be more consistent with this talent.
There's versatility within this group. You know, that's the whole thing. I think with the receiving core is, I look at it like a starting five in basketball. You're not going to always put Jamison on the outside, although he can do it. You're going to put him on the inside where he's going to be able to work on those nickels and do all the stuff that he does in short areas. And then you see kind of the same thing with Denzel in terms of where he plays big on the outside. He's got the length and the radius. We're going to get him better playing inside the numbers. So it's just mixing and matching those guys. Keelan Cole bringing in that speed element. And he's been a really good third down player over his career. And then obviously Corey with his size. And what's cool about Corey is you can see it. People see, all right, that he had a really good year. You can see him get off. He has the quickness to get off the line of scrimmage. And I'll show it from this angle too because I think this one's better. But just showing that release. He gets the release from a smaller corner. He's running away from him. He can put his foot in the ground, still run away from him. The ball's just maybe a hair behind him, still a pretty good ball. But he's got the radius, the size, and the strength to make the tough contested catches. The other thing that I don't think people see with Corey is he doesn't get brought down easily. He's a 6'3", 215-pound man, and I think we're getting him right in his prime. He's always had that size and that speed element for his size, but I think he just got more and more confident. And again, yeah, there are rookie receivers and second-year receivers that have big impacts, but when you look at the history of it, it takes him some time, and I think it's just been time for him to learn and grow in this system. I know he's at a good place in his personal life right now. He just had a kid, and he couldn't be more happy to start his family and stuff like that, and I think that's helped him become a better football player.
Okay, LaMarcus Joyner, he's a guy that played nickel for Oakland, but we really envisioned him as a safety for us. We're going to challenge the safeties to play man-to-man on wide receivers at times. His experience now playing nickel for the Raiders and then in his previous life playing, just true safety for the Rams back in the day made him the perfect prospect for this. You see right here, he foot fakes the wide receiver, gets underneath. He foot fakes the offensive lineman to get off that, and then he lays out for a tackle. Just mindset. Little in stature, but plays huge. Jared Davis will be the next guy that, we're really excited about. He came out in the draft a couple years ago, and I just thought he would be a perfect piece within this defense. He's a rare guy from the standpoint he has all the athleticism, the speed, but he's got just a different level of physicality. Here's him down at the bottom. Absolute punishing tackler. I've really been excited about the guys that we've added to this roster, and I was excited about the guys that were on the roster. From that standpoint, guys that were so eager to learn and do whatever's necessary to get this thing right. Quinnen, this is the position he's going to line up for us. He's going to be a 3 technique the vast majority of the time. And we absolutely love what he brings to this position. As you see him right here, he's in the right-hand side, the right 3 technique, attacking the B gap. In the run game, he's a guy that can absolutely wreck your game plan. In my opinion, especially the way we're going to play him, I wouldn't run his way. And to make an offense one-dimensional and to change a game plan, that's unique. There's not many players in this league that can do that. I think that he's absolutely capable of getting that done. He's a great run defender, but he's ready to be, in that conversation as the, top 3 defensive tackles in this league.
Obviously, back to being a rookie last year, had, I thought, a really good rookie year. His ceiling is through the roof. He can be as good as he wants to be. I know when he went through, the first couple of weeks we were here, we knew how big he was, but because of COVID last year, we never got to see him in person. And after he went and met our offensive line coach, John Benton ran down here as fast, and he's like, that man is huge. And I said, that's right, he is huge. Obviously, when you think of, a left tackle, hey, he's got to protect the blind side of the quarterback. And no doubt that he does that at such a high level. I mean, you can see it right here, one of the better pass rushers in this game in Bosa. And, he does pretty well against these guys. And that's why he got picked at such a high pick. And we expect him to even get better at that as we move forward.
We're going to play an aggressive quarterback vision style coverage. And in order to play that style of defense, quarterbacks cannot get to their second or third look. They just can't, or it just doesn't work. We need 2 things. We need 1, a defensive line that can handle the run game, because we're gonna put a lot of stress on our back end, which we absolutely have in the building now. And we're gonna continue to add to that. But just as important as that, we're gonna have guys that can get home to the quarterback consistently. It's a system where you'd like to start up front, because if you don't, and quarterbacks do get to the second and third look, guys in the back end, they lose faith a little bit in the system that we're going to try to implement. So I think we've done it right in that way and really built the front first.
Players come in so many shapes and sizes, right? We all kind of feel the same way. As we need some tough dudes in here. And what's cool is there's tough guys on this roster, and I think we're bringing in some, and we'll hopefully draft some more. There's no secret sauce to this thing. You got to go out there and impose your will on guys. So that's the first thing. And then after that, you got to be able to run. And you got to be able to run from our center on out, because we do the outside zone, and those guys got to be able to move. So that's another key component. But first and foremost, we got to have dudes in here that have the right mentality, that are tough, that are team guys.
With key pieces already added, the biggest piece to the off-season puzzle remains. A decision looms with the number 2 pick, and today, the Jets Pro Day Tour has a pivotal stop.
Zach Wilson will have his pro day today, so you'll be able to watch that, I'm sure, on NFL Network. So if you are a Jet fan and the Jets are looking at Zach Wilson, this will be a big day for them. Yeah, as they evaluate the young man to see whether or not they want to take him with the number 2 pick.
The tough part, or what you try to look for in these college quarterbacks when you're evaluating them, is yes, you're still going to get down to the decision-making, timing, and accuracy. The thing about most of these guys that have come out is they throw in clean pockets. D-line it's not the NFL. So you try to find as many clips as you can over their 4 years, or 3 years, however many years they played, where they're, what we say, throwing in a phone booth, where that pocket is collapsing and they're still able to make those throws without looking at the pass rush. They're able to be accurate, be able to stand in there and be tough. And usually if you surf hard enough through those 4 years, you can find enough clips where you feel, like you're going to make the appropriate decision based on that.
You want to get up close and personal to this player, whether it's really close in the bleacher or standing as close as you can to them, just to get a sense of their build, get a sense of their total presence, how they're communicating with their coach, how they're communicating with their teammates. All these things that you can see up close and personal that you may not be able to see just watching tape.
Because there's times where a ball looks really, really good on film from way up in the press box when they're playing whoever, but then you get there in person and it dies a little bit, or vice versa. Now it's zipping a little bit more. There's 2 things you never want to do, particularly in the quarterback room, but any of these positions, is make a decision based when you haven't really gotten to know the guy and you haven't seen him throw live.
Are the 31 teams in attendance right now on a guy who could very well be the number 2 overall pick. DJ, he's your number 2 quarterback, Zach Wilson. And here he goes. His throwing session under the direction of John Beck, another former BYU quarterback, and a second-round pick of the Miami Dolphins back in 2007, running this year with Zach.
To me, you're looking just still to check all the boxes that you saw on tape. Like, is it the accuracy that we thought?
Watch the explosiveness with which he can release the ball, whether his feet are planted in the ground or not.
How strong is that arm? You don't have to have the strongest arm to play in this league, but you judge a guy based on what you see right there. He's got good arm strength. Is it still going?
I'm telling you, the smoke that was on that ball, when that was from a proper launch point, that wasn't like the little sidearm thing we've seen him do. He ripped it and it was on point.
Oh my goodness, that is just a silly throw.
Look at the interaction he's having with his teammates that he's throwing to. Is he a leader of those guys, or is he just, kind of about himself out there, So you see if maybe the big lights of a pro day is kind of affecting him at all. So you try to just put all those factors. Everyone's going to be a little bit different, but, you try to take the most you can with a guy that's in T-shirt and shorts and go from there.
On the next episode of Flight 2021.
Joe, what's up? Draft day.
Let's do it.
They describe what they want at the position. Everything about what they said, I thought, described Zach perfectly.
We actually saw him making the throws that we would be asking him to make within our scheme.
Some of the groundwork for trades are laid out in the days before the draft, but you never really know for sure until you're on the clock.
Oh my word. The Jets have just moved in on the 14th overall pick.
The New York Jets select